I'm live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Live with Lisa. So it is lovely to see you this evening, and I hope everyone has had a lovely day. Some days are better than others. That's a fact. Today was a bit of a challenging one. Some very good things and some not so good things, right? I guess that's how it goes in life. But it's interesting if I were just going to digress for a moment off topic. Um, it's really lovely to be in a place in life, and I think many of you will agree, where we don't have to let any one thing really, get us out of whack, right? Like I remember when I was younger and something would happen and I would just obsess over that stuff. How many of you do that? And that one thing, that fight with a friend or that one instance where, you just had something bad happen and you just can't get it off your mind. And then it ruins your entire day. And I don't know if this is just a sign of emotional maturity, or maybe it's just about getting older that you just don't let one thing kind of take over your mind. You can have a bad moment, a bad experience, and then you just take a deep breath and you say, okay, this is the next thing I'm going to do right now. And you just kind of switch channels and you move forward and you don't let things weigh you down. So it's really a blessing to be at that stage of life where you can roll with the punches and you kind of know the ebb and flow of life, and it doesn't have to just throw you off your game like it did when we were younger. And that's for dating too, right? Like for those of you who are out there dating with more experience, with more time, with more, um, just putting yourself out there, having the right tools, educating yourself. You don't have to get so bent out of shape. A lot of the women in my 12-week emotionally naked dating coaching program, a lot of the women in the group recently have read the Four Agreements. And, I highly, highly recommend this book for anybody who, for those of you who haven't read it. The Four Agreements really does strike a chord with people. It is just a quite rather short book, and people just feel that it is life changing. What is so life changing about that book is that it's, the author, Don Miguel Ruiz, who happened to be my spiritual teacher for many years, he's taken life and sort of stepped back and he's looked at these four agreements or four beliefs that, humans have. And if you can just adopt these four, it can change your entire life. The four agreements are: don't take anything personally, always do your best, don't make any assumptions, and be impeccable in your word. And each one is really important, but especially when it comes to dating, the two that seem to really make a massive difference are: don't take anything personally and always do, no, don't take anything personally and don't make any assumptions. It's an amazing, amazing book. And, as you learn how to navigate the dating world and not take things personally and not make assumptions, it is massively freeing. So I recommend that book to anybody who's interested. So my lovely assistant, Cassie, chose the topic of the day. And what I'm going to talk about is the importance of dating multiple men, especially in the early stages of dating. And this is something that some of my clients really struggle with. It can be very, very difficult to do that for some people. A lot of women hold this belief that, I can only date one guy at a time, and that men won't understand if I am dating multiple men. And it doesn't feel right to me. There's a lot of beliefs. I don't know if any of you, have some hesitation about doing this. If you do, what would be your objection? Like anybody, anyone who has objections to dating multiple people at once, what would you share? Like, what would some of your resistance or hesitation to doing that be? I would love to hear comments from some of you. What would stop you from dating, two or three guys at once until you got into a relationship? Are you afraid that you might, like too many guys, that it might get too confusing? Do you feel that, if you met a guy who was dating multiple people, that would feel threatening to you because you would just want him to give you all the attention, and you might not feel comfortable if you knew that he was seeing other women too? What are your hesitations about doing that? I'm curious. So Jacqueline said, how do you talk about this effectively to the men that you're dating? Jacqueline, that's a great question. So you would say, to a man, I'm really looking for something different this time. In the past, I've rushed into relationships too quickly and it didn't work. And this time, I really want to get it right. So I'm not rushing into anything with anyone, right? I don't want to rush into anything with anyone. So Judy says, finding the time, that it would be time consuming to date more than one man at a time. So Judy, I actually want to share with you that dating more than one man at a time would mean that you would not, you wouldn't just be going on, you would lots of time and energy. So that's a big one. So by dating several men at once, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going on physical dates with with lots of different guys, although you may, have one or two people that you are going on physical dates with. But it also means that you would be doing some Zoom dates with one guy, you may be texting with a couple of others, but you're not putting all your focus on just one guy. Okay. First, I'm going to address some of the objections, and then I'm going to talk to you all about the importance of doing this and why it's so important. So Gina says, I can't keep everyone straight. Gina, you can have a little spreadsheet. All of you, women, working women know how to create a spreadsheet, and you'll just put your guys there. Maybe you do a little screenshot of their, of the picture on their profile or whatever, or you can, with your phone, you can click it and take a screenshot of their, what do you call their, Bumble or Tinder or whatever, so that you can remember who those guys are. But yes, you may need to keep a little bit of a spreadsheet so you don't embarrass yourself. April says, I feel like I would be in competition. Well, that's really honest, April. And yes, I can understand how uncomfortable you might feel, like you're competing with other women, and that would be uncomfortable for sure. Shanice says, it seems to distract me. I talk to one guy and then another comes along and makes my interest in the original guy start to wane. So Shanice, that's actually might be a good thing, because you might find that another guy actually has more to offer you than the one that you were talking to. And it also gives you a chance to look at several different guys, right? And compare them and kind of see, wow, well, this one has this to offer, this one has this to offer. So you can actually not just jump in with the first guy that comes along, but it gets you to look at, hey, this guy's good, but this guy's even better, and not just settle for the very first one that comes along who looks better than the last guy, right? Gina says, I don't want to embarrass myself by repeating the same thing to the same person. That's very funny, Gina. And it could happen, right? It could happen. You never know. All right. Anybody else have objections to why you wouldn't want to date multiple people? Anybody else? I'd love to hear from some of you, like why you would object to doing this. before I talk about why this is really such an incredibly good idea. Anybody? Okay. Well, if you come up with some more objections as I'm talking, maybe you'll share them. So, does anybody know why it's a good idea to do this? Does anybody know why it's so important not to just date one person at a time? Anyone? Anyone? You don't want, so Cindy says, I don't want them to date multiple women. Okay. So Shabnash says, if I meet someone wonderful, at what point do I stop dating other guys? Shabnash, I'll talk about that in a minute. It's a really good question, but give me a moment, and I'll answer that. And Gina said, so let's look at why this is so important to do. Gina says, so you don't settle. That's a brilliant one. So what happens is when we're dating one guy at a time and we start to get into scarcity mode and we think that, okay, this is this has been the best guy, or this guy's into me and I got to make it work. And we're trying, we get into that mode of this person seems, really good and he's better than other guys. And I don't want to lose out on this one. And so we wind up settling. We pick the first guy that comes along, and we date that guy because it's like, this is who's here and I don't want to lose this opportunity, right? So that's one of the things that we do. We just jump in and we get caught up in the next thing because this guy likes us, and we start trying to make it work, and we wind up missing out on other opportunities and other people. It's also very, very important that you look at what's available to you. So especially if you're out dating and you're really trying to grow and you're not wanting to jump into anything with anyone, and you really want to see what's available to you, then you want to get out there. And especially if you're working with a coach like me and you're really evolving and changing, and you're going through a real growth, personal growth as you go out there and you're dating, you want to not jump in with the first person. So let me explain what I'm talking about and how this would work. The women who do my course, in the very first month, my course is 3 months, and in the first month, there is no dating. So in that first month, we do this very intensive deep dive into my client's self-worth, her inner dialogue, self-love. We do some really, really deep work. Then we start looking at attachment styles, how to pick a healthy partner, how to recognize a man who is secure and who wants a relationship, and how to spot the guys that don't, right? The ones who are avoidant, have intimacy issues. You want to learn how to steer clear of those guys, no matter how wonderful they look on paper, no matter how hot they are. If they have intimacy issues, you want to avoid them. Then we do a very deep dive into their entire relationship history with men. So in the third week of working with me, we look at their relationship history. What are the repeating patterns? What are the mistakes that they've been making over and over again? We don't just look at the men that they have been involved in, but we include their mother and father as well. And then we look at all of their past relationships, and we look for repeating patterns. Then out of that, we create something called their final 5 that Gina wrote about. Once they get their final 5 are the 5 things they must have in a partner. And these are not things that they make up. These are things that are based on their past, on their history. The final 5 is all about breaking patterns from their past. So they have to have these 5 things in a partner that they compromised or settled for in past relationships. So in that first month, we're doing some very, very deep work. And then in the fourth week of my course, we work on getting the right online dating photos, and my husband will write the online dating profile for my women. So they will send in homework from the first month of the course, and then my husband will use all of these awareness building exercises and all the things they do in the first month. He will craft their profile from that material, a profile that's authentic and real and heartfelt. And these pictures and profiles that he writes, my women start to attract a whole different kind of man. So they post their new pictures and their new profile. They get back out in the dating world, and it's a game changer. My clients will say that they start attracting a completely different caliber of men. They start to relate to men better. They understand men better. They're having more fun. They feel more confident. And so after that first month, when they get back out in the dating world, they don't want to just jump in with the first guy. They don't want to, because they start to see that the guys just keep getting better and better and better. And so they really slow down and they want to see what's available to them. And they start to see that as their standards rise, and with this new profile and these great pictures, the men keep improving the way they talk to the men, the way they relate to the men. So my women learn that no, they don't want to dive in with the first guy, because the men keep improving as they keep improving. Do you all get this? And so what they do is they practice the skills that they're learning from me and from my husband as they go through the course: how to set better boundaries, how to ask for what they want and need from a man in a very inviting and engaging way. And they learn how to open up their hearts, and they learn from my husband and me how to help a man open up his heart. And all of these things that they're learning from us and practicing while they're going out on these dates is elevating their interactions with the men that they're meeting. And it's really shifting the caliber of men who are attracted to them. And so they learn the wisdom of not jumping into anything too quickly. They want to take their time, and they realize that it is wise not just to jump in with the first man. Somebody said, Jacqueline wrote, "It keeps you from becoming too emotionally attached too soon." Bingo, Jacqueline. One of the biggest mistakes women make, and this is just in our DNA, is that many of us get very anxious when we start to like somebody, right? Anxious women tend to attract avoidant men. Now, some women can be avoidant. I was very avoidant, so I would run away when I liked a guy. But a lot of women get very anxious, and they overthink and they overprocess. So if you're dating several men at once, it helps to mitigate some of that anxiety. It allows you to think, okay, I like Jason, but I also like Jack. And wait a minute, there's this other guy, Tom, who, there's something about him. He's growing on me. So it gives you the opportunity not just to overfocus on one guy. And I see, over and over and over again, we have a mastermind group that is amazing. And in the mastermind group, we have, a number of women who get anxious when they meet somebody. And when women get anxious, one of the things we start to do is we don't just overthink, but we also start to put up a lot of rules. We don't just overthink and have to, put up walls, But we actually start to have a lot of rules. And I watch this with the women. Well, he didn't do this and he needs to do that. And why isn't he doing this? And I want to know where this is going. And we watch them, and some of them have only been on a few dates with a guy. And already it's like, well, where is this going? And why didn't he invite me to that? He talked about this event that's coming up, and he was talking about the event, but he didn't invite me. Why did he talk to me about it if he didn't invite me? And I'm going on a trip, and maybe I should invite him. I mean, he doesn't have to come, but what if I just put it out there and I said, I'm going away on this thing and you could come with me if you wanted to. And again, they've only had a few days, and it's just too much too soon. It doesn't matter how great the connection is. You have to be very careful, because if you go too quickly, you're going to turn these men off. You've got to give this some space to breathe and for it to evolve and for this man to actually fall in love with you. And if you move too fast, that I see so many relationships that are over before they've even started because women get too anxious. We had one woman, liquid refreshment, excuse me. It's hard to talk for an hour at a time sometimes, but we had a woman who, Chris, are you in Santa Fe? How do you know that Balloon Fiesta is on? How did you know that, Chris? I'm fascinated to know. And how are you? I haven't seen you in ages, so it's lovely to see you on my Facebook, on this call. I'm very, so the women, I just watch how quickly we move because we're so anxious to get into a relationship. First of all, just to meet a guy we like, right? How many of you are just like, oh my God, like the minute you meet somebody that you actually like for a change, you're just like rushing in so fast. We have a wonderful client. I love this woman so much. And she is the sweetest thing. She's in our mastermind group, and she is so cute. But she met a guy, she meets these guys, and she really, really, I mean, her heart is in the right place, and she gets so excited, and but way, way, way too quickly she's talking about a relationship and recommending books to read. And she's talking about how, like, reading this book will make the relationship, it'll help with the relationship and all. And she'll talk about these things quite quickly. And she's very sweet. She's good at getting men to open up to her because she is such a sweetheart. But it's a little too soon in the first, even month of dating to start talking about, what it's going to be like in the relationship and processing and working through issues and problems together. If you do that, you're going to scare men off. So, especially in the very early stages of dating, you want to keep it light, as light as you can, and playful and fun. And of course, there will be some more heart-opening conversations, and there will be some talks about past relationships and all of that. But by dating several people at once, it allows you, to keep things lighter and not to get too hung up on just one guy and then scare him off. Where if you had been allowing this to evolve more slowly, you wouldn't push somebody away because you were over focusing. We had one woman who I think she's met a really, really, really great guy. We don't know where it's going to go. It's too early. But she was starting to get a little bit, anxious. And there was a moment where he had to cancel a date with her because of his kids. And hey, he's got kids, she doesn't. And that is going to happen, right? It is going to happen that she will, he's going to have to cancel because of the kids or because the ex-wife needs to change the night, that trade nights with him. She's got something that she has to do, maybe an emergency for work or something, but they're going to have to work that out together. And he needs to be flexible with her, with the ex-wife, because um, he may need her to change the day with him at some point, if he has an emergency or something, and they have to work together to be able to handle the kids. And so my client doesn't have kids, and she's going away. She has a work thing that she has to go away for. And so she was hurt that he had to change this date. And then I think he had to take the kids to a game or something. And so he couldn't, the wife couldn't do it. The father had to. And he canceled the date with my client. And then I guess their game ended early and he had time, and he actually messaged her and said, "Hey, my evening freed up and I can get together if you can." And my client wrote to me and she said, "What do I do?" And I said, "You go." What do you do? You like him. He's, his evening freed up. The game ended early and he was able to be free of his kids. And he's thinking about who? You. So go, right? And it was really good. She was dating another guy. And so it helped her anxiety. But I said, go. And so, it's interesting to see how we put up these rules, or, there was this, oh my God, well, I'm not going to be available, or I shouldn't be available last minute and all. But it was a sweet moment where he was thinking of her. And the moment his evening freed up, the first thing he wanted to do was see her. And it wasn't like he was just making her a last minute priority. They also had a date on Monday and Tuesday. So she went, and, she's really glad that she's seeing this other, that she's got this thing, not putting all of her eggs in one basket, but also that she had me in her back pocket to say, "No, don't be silly. Go see this guy. Like, don't sit at home and sulk or feel sad. Go see him." But the beauty of having, multiple people that you're seeing, and having, a love coach in your back pocket is a really, really, really great thing. So, yes, it did. It was a wonderful thing. And she's actually feeling so great because she likes both of these guys that she's talking to. And where she really liked the one guy, she now actually really likes the second guy too. So it's really helping her not just put all of her eggs in one basket. And she was able to, mitigate some of that anxiety. And she had Benjamin and me, to help her navigate a moment like that, and not say no to a date with a man that she's excited about. Because again, we get very excited about a guy. Things aren't just going perfectly. There's a glitch. And our first thing is to throw out a rule that's so ridiculous, like, how dare he, don't ask me out last minute after you already canceled, So she went on the date. It was amazing. It brought them closer together. They actually had a wonderful time. I think he was very appreciative of her flexibility. That was something. Now, if it keeps happening and she keeps feeling like she's just fitting in to his schedule, she's going to have a conversation with him about that. But right now it's all new and they're just getting started. They haven't even, I think, known each other a month. So you want to, dating multiple people prevents you from moving too quickly, right? Putting too much pressure on the guy to be somewhere, giving him a chance to really get to know you and have other people that you're talking to at the same time. And you may even meet someone you like more. Sometimes there's a guy who's at the very, very top, but then you meet someone else and he moves into second or even third place. And this other guy goes way, 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 way up to the top. And that's really amazing. Just when you thought, oh my God, this is the best guy I've ever dated, you meet somebody and it's like, no, but this guy's got some qualities that I really have been looking for, and things ways in which I really feel met. Lisa says, I'm having a third date with a man I am liking and constantly reminding myself to stay grounded. We enjoyed our time together. He's funny and the chemistry is there. And Lisa, honey, because you've been down that road before, and I know you have, how important it is to keep dating other men. Here she goes. I'm making sure I'm going on the dating sites daily. So even though she really likes this guy, Lisa knows, what it's like to get too quickly into a relationship only to find out that this guy isn't who you thought he was, right, Lisa? So it's really great because some of these guys also who seem so great in the beginning, the other thing is they turn out not to be who you thought they were. And so if you continue dating other people, even if you really, really super like somebody, it's very important not to just jump in and make assumptions that this is my guy and jump in too quickly just because you want to get off the dating sites and you don't want to keep dating a lot of people. There's a lot of wisdom in not jumping in too quickly with anyone. I was supposed to have a date Sunday and this Thursday, and both men dropped off. Well, they did you a favor then. They got out of the way, and they're not the guardian of your soul, right? But it's good to set up those dates and to be doing this even if, they do drop off and they're not the right guy. So the other thing, and somebody said this up above, and I want to credit the person, Stephen. Thank you, Stephen. And it's great to see you, honey. I love that you're on the call. If you date a few people at a time, it saves you time looking for the right one. That's another thing that I want to talk about because it's really important to do this. And Cindy also said, I had somebody tell me until there's a ring on my finger, I should be dating multiple men. Cindy, I don't know if you need to wait until there's a ring on your finger, but I will tell you that until you're really sure about somebody and you have a really, really good feeling about where it's going, you do want to keep dating several men at once. And until there's an actual commitment and this guy has committed and you have committed and you've both agreed that you want to explore where it goes, then yes, you do want to keep dating multiple people. I want to talk about what Stephen wrote. And the reason why it is so important, or why it saves you time in the long run, is, think about this. If you date one guy for 2 weeks and you date the next guy for 2 months, right? And then you date the next guy and maybe you go on, 12 dates, right? So maybe you date the next guy for 6 weeks. If you add that all up, 2 weeks, 2 months, and 6 weeks, right? How much is that? That's 4 months in total, right? That's 4 months of your life. But if you dated all of those people simultaneously, it would have only been 2 months. So you want to be careful because what you could have accomplished in 2 months would have taken you 4 months to accomplish, right? And probably, let's just say that none of those people worked out, right? Because it was 2 weeks, and then there was 2 months, and then there was another 6 weeks, right? And none of those relationships worked out. So what could have taken 2 months of your life would have taken 4 months of your life. So if you had been dating all of those people at the same time, it would have only been 2 months of your life instead of 4. So by dating multiple people at once, you actually save time. You save months and months or years of your life because you're not stringing these people out over a long period of time. Also, when you're comparing people and you're seeing, oh, this one's actually, we have way more in common and this feels way more natural, I'm going to let this guy go. You may have held on to a guy for a long time that you shouldn't have and tried to make it work. Whereas if you had been dating multiple people at once, you wouldn't have stayed with that guy. You would have cut it off sooner because you would have realized, hey, this is much better. This feels much more natural. I actually like this guy, and you wouldn't have invested so much time trying to make the other one work. Do you guys get this? Like how important that is? You wouldn't have stayed in something that just didn't feel right for you. You would have gotten out of it and you would have realized, no, I mean, this is so much easier. This is so much more fun. This is so much funner. Why would I waste time, beating my head against the wall with this other guy trying to make it work when there's a better guy that just is that's such a better match for me? So there's a lot of wisdom in doing this. So somebody had asked, Shabnash had asked a question, and I want to go back to that because it was a really good question. If I meet someone wonderful, at what point do I stop dating other guys? Right? You stop, Shabnash, when you really realize that this is a person who has what I call your final five. These are in my course, I help women understand their, 5 things that they have compromised in the past and that they absolutely must have, right? Or they can't continue dating this guy. And then you really talk about intimacy. You talk about, commitment and the possibility of exploring a relationship. So one of the women who went through my 12-week course, she followed everything I told her exactly the way I suggested that she do it. She was brilliant. It was beautiful to have her in the course. And today she wrote me the most beautiful message, just the most beautiful message. And I want to share with you what she said. So let me find this, because she followed this prescription of dating multiple people, and she met a great guy while she was in the course, and she decided, but today she sent me a message, and I will find it because I did a screenshot of it. Whoops, let's just see here. This is what my beautiful client wrote to me. And I want you to know that she is 64 years old, and she came in to coach with me, and she was very afraid. And she signed up, and then I think it was the next day she said, Lisa, I think I made a mistake and I don't know if I can do this. I'm starting to believe I'm one of those women who just isn't cut out, wasn't meant to have love. And she had been a therapist for, 30 something years of her life. And she had helped many, many, many people with issues around love and partnership and relationships. And here she was telling me that maybe she just didn't think that she was meant to have this, and she wanted to back out of the course. And I said, you owe it to yourself to give yourself this chance. And she did, she did the first month of the course. She did great. And then she got to the point where she needed to get out and date. And she actually wrote to me and said, the course has gotten kind of boring. The calls aren't challenging me anymore. And a lot of the women who were on in the beginning, they've graduated and I'm kind of bored. And I said, well, wait a minute, like, how's your dating going? Are you out there? And she said, well, I haven't put my profile up. And excuse me, I get very low blood sugar when I haven't eaten. So I have to eat something. Sorry to be on a Facebook Live, but my blood sugar is dropping. So she said, Lisa, I'm kind of bored. And I said, wait a minute, you're not dating. Like, you got to get out there. That's what you're in a dating course for, not just to do the first month, which is the easy part. You need to get out and date. And she finally put herself out there. And very quickly, she met Jim. But she stayed out there and she kept dating other men. And, she just let this unfold. And she just graduated. She met Jim in the course very quickly after she posted the profile that my husband had written for her. But she continued to talk to other men and do exactly what I said. And then it became clear to her that this man kept showing up and the relationship just kept steadily building, and he became more and more dear to her. And they had a conversation, and he decided, he told her that he was going to take his profile down. And this is what she wrote. She said, "Hi, Lisa, I am writing to tell you that Jim took his profile down yesterday. We decided to be exclusive and create a heavenly relationship and life together. I'm over the moon and yet still feel grounded, unclouded, and free of fear. I can talk to him so easily, and it feels good, easy, and so right. Oh my God, you are a miracle giver. Please tell Benjamin my good news also." And she said, "I send you so much love and light, for the help and all the beautiful work you do. Love." And then she signed it. So, they made this decision together. They made a decision. They talked about it. They both agreed that this is what they wanted to do, Shabnash. And that's what you're looking for, a man who agrees, when you talk about intimacy and exploring a connection and all, that you both agree together to do, to do this. And when the subject of commitment comes up, he, doesn't run away. He doesn't pull away. But, you both make this beautiful decision together, and you're looking for somebody who's on the same page with you and where it's mutual. And that's another reason why slowing this process down and not rushing in and really, finding out that you're both on the same page and you both want the same things, that is a beautiful point to stop dating other guys. Any other questions about this? I would love to hear from some of you. I know there's quite a few women who are listening. Please, chime in. Are there, questions you have about dating, or reservations that you have about dating multiple men, or how to talk to men and tell a man that you're seeing other people? What questions do you have for me? Anybody? Thank you, Shabnash. Thank you so much, honey. But you're looking for a man that, when a relationship that's building, a man who surprises you, the more you get to know him. Maybe it's little tiny things, maybe it's just little things, but you think about, wow, this guy's different, or he keeps showing up, or, it's not like he's wowing me, but there are these little things that he's saying and doing that just, he's different from other men, he's consistent, and I can't stop thinking about him. And I don't know what that is, but, there's something really sweet about the way he keeps showing up, the way he's consistent, how he, we go on one date and he can't wait to ask me out for the next one. And he seems to be opening up to me little by little. And I feel comfortable opening up to him. And when I share certain personal, vulnerable things, he really, he receives them and he reflects back, how lovely it was. And he thanks me for opening up. And I just feel, more and more comfortable. Cindy said, how do you know they are not playing games, or is he just stringing you along? Cindy, you got to trust your God, honey. You got to ask for what you want. And then you need to see, like, when I say to him, hey, I would love for us to see each other more than once a week, or I love it when a man, texts me during the day just to see how I'm doing. Does he listen when I ask for things? And does he do those things for me? Or do they fall on deaf ears, right? You're looking for a man who wants to make you happy and is consistently showing up and doing things to make you happy. If you, say, wow, there's this restaurant I would love to try. My girlfriend went there with, her guy last week, and she was telling me how amazing it was. It would be really fun to try it. Does he surprise you with a reservation to that restaurant? Right? So Lisa says men are territorial. After how many dates should I let a man know that I'm dating other men? Lisa, a really smart guy is going to get, pretty much guess that most women are dating other men. And basically, if he wants you to stop dating other men, then he's got to commit to a relationship with you. He has to commit to not seeing other women and to dating only you. And then he has to be open to the idea of exploring a potential, relationship. I don't want to tell my third date that I'm dating. You don't need to tell him. If he asks you, then you want to be honest and just say, I'm not jumping into anything. I love where this is going and I want to see where it goes. But, I feel that if I just get off and I only date one guy at a time, it puts too much pressure on, on a guy. And it's too soon in the early stages of getting to know somebody. I feel like that's too much pressure. And so I feel like it's healthy to not just focus on one person until we really get to know each other and we feel like this is going in a direction that we should stop dating other men. Does that make sense, honey? So I would urge you, to just paint it in a positive light and make it seem, for the guy, like it's to his advantage, to slow things down and not move too quickly, and that you don't want to jump into a relationship. You want a relationship, but you're not jumping in too quickly into anything. Like your end goal for dating is, hey, yes, I do want a relationship, but I also want to make sure that it's the right guy and that we have enough in common and we enjoy each other, right? So, yeah. And see, hon, thank you for that lovely compliment. That's really sweet, honey. I saw the beautiful picture of you and the man that you're dating. What a lovely couple you make. And my fingers are crossed, sweetheart. I hope that goes very, very well. And you told your date about my course. That's very, very sweet. Well, everybody, I am gonna go and grab some dinner. I have another call and I've actually been talking for about 4.5 hours straight. So I'm going to go grab some dinner. I'm going to end a little early tonight. I send you all so much love and I look forward to seeing you on the next Live with Lisa. I do 3 of these a week. I have Live with Lisa, which is on Tuesdays from 5 to 6 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. I have Lunch with Lisa, which is every Monday. and that is from 12 to 12:30 Mountain Time. And then I have the one I love the most, which is with my husband on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. The two of us, we do a talk, which is beautiful and intimate, and that is called Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. My husband is just the most beautiful man I've ever met. He has an absolutely extraordinary way of talking about many of the issues and problems and struggles men are facing and the challenges they have with women, just like we feel challenged by men. Men feel, feel very challenged in, how to make us happy, how to ask us on a date, how to initiate sex. There's all kinds of struggles that men face in dating, just like we do. It's no different for them. They're just as afraid of rejection as we are. And so it's lovely to start to understand men better, have more compassion for men, because the really good ones, they deserve our compassion. There are some really wonderful men out there. And I hope each and every one of you finds one. And then finally, I have a new podcast called Dating Without Drama. And you can find that wherever you get your podcasts. So please check that out. This has been Live with Lisa. Have a wonderful rest of your evening and love to you all. And thank you so much for showing up and listening. I'll see you next time. And please, if you want to drop me a line and you have an idea about a Facebook Live, please, this particular topic came from one of you. So thank you for sending in your ideas, and you can send those to lisa@lisashield.com. You can also go to my website, lisashield.com, if you want to watch my free 45-minute presentation. And if you want to know more about the work I do, we can always jump on a call and I can tell you more about that. Me or a member of my team will get on a call with you. So I send you all love and keep dating, because the guardian of your soul is out there. Give me a thumbs up or a heart if you like this talk. It helps me know that I'm hitting the right notes and talking about the things you want to hear about. And again, send me your ideas. If there's anything you want me to do an entire conversation around, or if you want my husband and me to talk about something and you want to get Benjamin's opinion, please let me know so that we can cover anything that you'd love for us to talk about. All right, everybody, love to you all, and I will see you next time.